With great power comes great responsibility, and the people on this list are at the top of the ladder when it comes to influencing the world around us. Whether they're world leaders, CEOs, or investors, they've got the money and the power to make big decisions at the drop of a hat. Make sure to stick around until the end to hear about one powerful man who invested $20 million to help stop President Bush from being re-elected. Before we tell you more about the people who are in charge of the world, make sure to like this video, subscribe to The Richest, and join our notification squad. Now let's get into 10 most powerful people in the world. Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a well-known businessman, but he's also the 45th and current president of the United States. As such, he governs one of the biggest countries in the Western world and has the power to single-handedly make important decisions. If he wants to declare war or send out nuclear weapons, he only has to make a couple quick phone calls and the damage is done. Before Trump became president, he worked as a TV personality and liked to exert his power on his show The Apprentice. Now, in his current career, he has a lot more power and doesn't have to answer to anyone. When Trump makes a decision...
A fun fact about Trump is that he never drinks in his life. A lot of people speculate that the wine glass has with a tall Trump Tower logo on it has wine in it. A fun fact is he never drunk any in his life. He never drinks alcohol in his life. That's under
that a member of his team disagrees with, he can simply fire them, as he's done in the past. Even when he makes decisions that the rest of the world disagrees with, like pulling his country out of the Paris Agreement, there's no one out there who can forcibly change his mind. An incredibly rich man thanks to his company, the Trump Organization, Trump has always been used to getting his own way, and he replicates that behavior in the way that he governs America. Vladimir Putin. Russian President Vladimir Putin has one certain way of making sure he stays in control of the country, by messing with election votes to come out on top as the clear winner each and every time. He won the 2018 election with a landslide 76% of the votes. Putin has led Russia for 18 years, and no one is truly sure when he'll move on from the role. Russia, under Putin's control, has clashed with many countries for nearly 2 decades because of Putin's struggle to compromise with other world leaders. Major topics of conflict include nuclear weapons and international spying, but Putin's power can be most obviously noted through his use of chemical weapons. Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel has been the Chancellor of Germany since 2005. Since then, she's dealt with a global financial crisis, an international struggle with migration policies, and the problems surrounding Brexit. Unlike many world leaders, Merkel has often been referred to as a calm ship in a sea of stability, leading the countries of the European Union in the right direction. Merkel's power has led her to make some big decisions at the risk of her popularity. In 2011, she ended Germany's nuclear power projects after the crisis at the Fukushima plant in Japan. And in 2015, she opened up her country to thousands of refugees who had nowhere else to go. While both of these decisions might seem rational, they came at a high cost. However, Merkel's power meant that very few people were in a position to argue with her or change her mind. And after 13 years, no one doubts this chancellor that much anymore. Her cool, calm demeanor suggests that she understands exactly what she's capable of doing with her power. Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping, China's president, is using his power for one very dangerous motive: to keep himself in charge of the country for the rest of his life. In 1982, China's constitution was changed to set up specific presidential term limits. This meant that even the worst president could only rule the country for a certain period of time before someone else would have to take the helm. But Xi Jinping is doing his best to change this, potentially putting the entire country in grave danger under his rule. China's Communist Party, supported by Xi Jinping, is trying to convince its residents that letting Jinping rule for the rest of his life is a smart move. But China's citizens know better due to their dangerous past under Mao Zedong's control. However,
Sorry to add.
Make an impact on your community. It's your time. Learn more at rasmussen.edu.
That's making him rule for the next few decades.
Due to their dangerous past under Mao Zedong's control. However, even the most unhappy citizens don't have the power to keep Xi Jinping from sticking to his agreed-upon presidential term. A few people have spoken out about the potential new ruling and have faced visits from the state police to discuss their words and feelings. Since China is already under such strict rulings, it's dangerous to swim against the tide, and the powerful Xi Jinping knows that his people know this. Pope Francis. Pope Francis is the head of the Catholic Church and the Bishop of Rome. He's also the leader of Italy's independent city-state, Vatican City. This means that not only does Pope Francis have religious duties, but he has political ones too. Pope Francis spends his days meeting with world leaders and maintains diplomatic relationships with more than 100 nations. He also travels around the country conducting liturgies and appointing new bishops. As he's in charge of Vatican City, he can make the rules as to how the tiny country works. He can decide what happens to the country's finances and how their money is used. He also has the power to decentralize rulings in Rome from those of the Vatican. So if ever Pope Francis feels like Rome is making bad decisions, he can simply stop those decisions from being implemented in Vatican City. However, this pope has definitely used some of his powers for good. He's tried to modernize the church by challenging its bureaucracy and has also been accepting of divorced people and those with different sexual identities. Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook's creator and CEO, might not be a head of state or a member of the government, but he's certainly up there with the most powerful people in the world. While he can't outright control people's decisions, he can definitely influence what they see while using his social media platform. And because more than 1 billion people use Facebook, there's an awful lot of potential for him to subtly change people's minds. Zuckerberg's company is the 7th largest corporation on the planet by market capitalization. Although he doesn't own the company himself entirely, he does control 60% of the voting rights that control what happens to it. Indirectly, Zuckerberg is responsible for controlling what news is shown to his users. With a net worth just shy of $70 billion, Zuckerberg definitely has the power and the funds to change the world in almost any way that he pleases. Bill Gates. Bill Gates has an estimated net worth of $90 billion, making him the second richest person in the world. And with lots of money comes a lot of responsibility. But while some powerful people use their riches to put others in danger or to cause reckless things to happen, Bill Gates uses his power for good. Gates is best known for launching the computer company Microsoft. He became a millionaire by the age of 26, and his income quickly spiraled upward into the unimaginable amount that it sits at today. In 2008, Gates stepped down from a day-to-day role in his company to focus on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which is said to be the largest private foundation in the U.S. He's used his influence and power to make the world a better place by improving access to clean water in developing countries. He's also worked to encourage the use of sustainable energy and is doing his best to tackle world hunger. Gates has invested $38 billion into his foundation, so no one can say that he's used his power selfishly at all. Larry Page. Larry Page, who co-founded Google and now runs Alphabet Inc., Google's parent company, has more power than you think is possible. His companies have grown to the extent that we can't go about our daily lives without using one of his products to get by. If you use the Google search engine, Gmail, Google Maps, or an Android phone, you're using one of Page's services.
Another ad.
Upgrade to a future in tech. It's your time. Learn more at rasmussen.edu.
Apps or an Android phone, you're using one of Page's services. Google's search engine powers around 91% of mobile search queries alone. In 2015, Page stepped down from his role at Google to focus entirely on Alphabet Inc., but he still has a lot of involvement with Google's future plans. With all of these services under his belt, Page certainly has the potential to use his power almost everywhere in the world. Narendra Modi. The Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, exerted his power in 2016 in a way that no one expected. He got rid of the 2 highest currency notes across the country. Overnight, these previously high-value notes became worthless. This was done in an attempt to crack down on black money and fake tender. It caught the government and central banks by surprise and led to utter chaos and mayhem across India. In a country with more than 1 billion people, people thought that the amount of illegal money found in the country was going to be high, but Modi faced backlash when only a small number of fake bills were returned in the end. So while some consider this a good use of his power, many are still undecided on whether it was worthwhile. But when he's not playing around with the country's currency, Modi has spent a lot of time investing in solar electricity and other renewable energy sources. He's also described a 10-point action plan to make new energy mixes cheap and easy to supply in order to cut back on the world's fossil fuel usage. George Soros. George Soros wears many powerful hats, including working as an investor, business magnate, philanthropist, political activist, and author. He's one of the world's most successful investors and has been playing the financial fields for more than 20 years. Now a prominent billionaire hedge fund manager, Soros is hated by many right-wing supporters because of his involvement in various political matters. He has an estimated net worth of $8 billion and has used a large chunk of his money to oppose political leaders whose ideas he doesn't agree with. Back in 2004, he gave over $20 million to 527 political groups that opposed President George W. Bush's re-election. When he heard that Obama was running for president, Soros gave the maximum allowed contribution that was legally possible. A firm liberal, he's been a major funder of MoveOn.org, a progressive advocacy group and political action committee that's raised millions of dollars for liberal candidates. Soros has also used his money and power to invest in the demographic reform of things like immigration, criminal justice, and democratic governance. That's all for 10 most powerful people in the world. Can you think of any other influential people who should have made this list? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more